The White House on defense again. On Monday, the U.S. abstained in a vote from a UN Security Council resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and the Hamas terrorists. Yeah, they didn't vote no, they didn't veto, they abstained, which is fancy for, I'll just hold my cards. That resolution passed despite not calling for the release of any of the hostages. The White House once again insisting this part.
What caused the shift, and what is the president's reason for allowing this to go through? It is a change.
No, it is not. It is not a policy change. We've been very clear. I disagree. We've been very clear that in order to get a hostage deal that would lead to a ceasefire, we also got to get that humanitarian aid. We believe it is all connected in that way. And so that is where we stood.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu canceled an Israeli delegation trip to Washington, D.C. because we voted, remember, I'll just hold my card style by abstaining, but is now reversing course. The two sides, the U.S. and Israel, are working now on a date for those meetings. They're going to try to revive that. And as we watch tensions rise between Israel and the Biden administration, a new Fox poll shows Trump with a double-digit lead over Biden when it comes to handling foreign policy. So this hour, a double-digit lead on immigration for Trump over Biden. A double-digit lead on Trump over Biden on foreign policy. Just keeping score here. Here's a look at the president's comments since Hamas's October 7th massacre of Israelis. And it raises questions over where he stands now when it comes to our greatest ally in the Middle East.
My administration's support for Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering. I come to Israel with a single message. As long as the United States stands, and we will stand forever, we'll not let you ever be alone. I have no notion that Palestinians are telling the truth about how many people are killed. I'm sure innocents have been killed, and it's the price of waging a war. I'm of the view, as you know, that the conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. The major military operation in Rafah should not proceed without a credible plan for ensuring the safety and support of more than 1 million people sheltering there. They need to be protected. I told him, baby, I'm repeat this. I said, baby, you know I can't come to Jesus. Sir, just...
Steve Hilton, Fox News contributor. So is there a shift?
There is a massive shift, but it's not surprising. What you saw there is exactly what many of us have been saying about Biden for years. For all his time in public life, 50 years in politics, we've seen what he is. He goes from one position to another on every issue, depending on what is best for him politically. He's a totally weak, an unprincipled machine politician who will say anything and do anything to cling to power and climb the ladder. And that's what we're seeing now. I mean, honestly, Harris, I thought that Biden couldn't go any lower than he did with that disgraceful exit from Afghanistan. But he has gone lower. Because if you look at what he said over the last few weeks or so, that Israel's behavior is over the top. Even as, just this week in the New York Times, David Brooks writing, after speaking to many military analysts, that Israel's conduct of the urban warfare in Gaza, they're going to greater lengths, much greater lengths to avoid civilian casualties than we did in Iraq and Afghanistan, by the way, when Biden was vice president. And then you look at what Jake Sullivan's been saying, that Israel should not pursue the remainder of the Hamas death squads and their army into Rafah and use some other way of doing it. And then you look at the resolution in the UN and add it all up, and what it tells you is that actually this Biden administration, their official position, regardless of what they claim, the official position of the Biden administration now is for Israel to lose this war against Hamas because they're worried about losing the election to Donald Trump.
And they don't care that the bloodthirsty terrorists are going to win if that happens. Again and again and again. And they're going to do what they did on October 7th again and again, because we've already been told by their leader, who's like, you know, up in some kind of nice digs in Qatar. Okay. We've seen countless anti-Israel protests target Biden and administration officials. Just this week alone, member of an anti-Israeli youth group gathered outside the houses of Defense Secretary Lord Austin and NSA Jake Sullivan. While they were chanting and holding up signs and everything, they were so classy. Dropping manure, so on and so forth. So this is a problem for the left. Watch.
Allowed them to deny coverage. Everybody deserves health care. Be patient.
So while that was going on, also this week they were protesting, as you just saw, a visit by Israel's defense minister in Washington, and then President Biden in another instance responding to one protester who interrupted his speech in North Carolina.
Allowed them to deny coverage. Everybody deserves health care. Be patient with them. They have a point. We need to get a lot more care into Gaza.
So you got to see that part twice. Watch this part. Senator Tom Cotton saying, when Biden says they have a point to pro-Hamas hecklers, here he is on X, he signals that anti-Israel radicals can push him around. It's a sign of weakness, inviting more disruption, and a gift to Hamas. Steve, this makes every point you made, and it's sad because these are what we call receipts.
Exactly.
They're not going away.
Exactly. And Tom Cotton's exactly right. And by the way, I mean, sometimes you just have to laugh at how ludicrous it is. Not just anti-Israel radicals, anti-Israel idiots. I mean, what are you talking about? Healthcare in Gaza? Hey, talk to Hamas about that. They've been running Gaza for years. What happened to them and their healthcare? I mean, it's so ridiculous. It makes you kind of wonder, honestly, what's been going on in our education system for all these years. You have so many people so utterly ignorant.
When you were in London and in government there with the former Prime Minister David Cameron, how did you handle this? Like, what are we doing? What are we missing?
Look, the thing is that you've got to have, this is the golden rule of politics that I've seen in many, many years of being involved. You've got to have principles, and sometimes they're going to be tested. But if you don't have conviction, if you don't have principles, Margaret Thatcher, first one in my experience, in my lifetime, to be known as a conviction politician, then, yes, there'll be protests. I mean, for example, with Margaret Thatcher, for nearly a year, the vicious protests that accompanied a strike by mine workers, but she held out. And it was the transformation of the British economy that resulted. You have to stick firm. And for a few protesters to blow you off course is just utterly pathetic.
Well, thank you for reaching back on that. Liberal media hypocrisy front and center after its firing of former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel. And the network MSNBC caved to the pressure, as we know, from its on-air talent. The New York Post writes this: Ronna McDaniel's NBC News firing is must-see TV. Remember, that was like a whole NBC thing. And it proves leftist media set rules they never follow. The Wall Street Journal is calling it NBC's Ronna McDaniel's tantrum. Quote, the Conformity Caucus chases the former RNC chairwoman off the air. Former Congressman Jason Chaffetz was with me yesterday.
When the people that preach diversity, equity, inclusion are the very first people to deny people, to push them aside because they've got diversity of thought. And what they did and how they did this to Ronna McDaniel is so abhorrent, is so wrong. They don't want anybody in their club that doesn't toe the exact line that Rachel Maddow and Chuck Todd, some of these others, want them to toe.
I doubt it'll be talent, but I've often wondered which executive's going to be first to go. I mean, they hired her. They knew who they hired.
I know. Of course. I mean, the whole thing is an utter shambles. I mean, the management of these companies, what is going on? I mean, by the way, they're lying about it as well. So you have, they've tried to set it up as well. It was NBC News and the corporate parent, but MSNBC, the guardians of the left, they didn't know anything about it. Now it turns out that the woman who runs MSNBC was in on the decision to hire Ronna McDaniel. She's totally out of touch with the people who are on her air. It's an utter shambles from a corporate position, and even if you look at the arguments that they're making, right, let's just give them what they're saying. Election deniers, you can't have an election denier like Ronald McDaniel. They've had election deniers non-stop. Stacey Abrams, Hillary Clinton, who denied Trump's election. It's an absolute outrage.
We showed a whole montage of that yesterday. Steve Hilton, always great to have you in focus. Thank you.
Thanks, Harris.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.